Alex Jones here reporting for Infowars.com. Well, we're really seeing look at those deer. Jump that fence. We're really seeing a paradox or a flux point of contradictions here for the mainstream dinosaur media, whose job it is to deceive and keep the public in darkness and sell them on tyranny and anti-family dehumanization and crony monopoly men domination. They've got a big problem on their hands because they've still got Nightline and MSNBC and The Daily Show, for that matter, and the ADL and Southern Poverty Law Center putting out reports saying people that worry about global government are insane terrorists. People that think the Federal Reserve is private are insane terrorists that want to kill people. I mean, this is what they put out. This is what they say 24/7. And it isn't working anymore because any given day, if you type into the Google search engine and click news, the term global government, world government, global governance, you get 20 or 30 mainstream news articles. Some days, like when Bilderberg's going, you might get 2,000. I mean, it is just incredible. And the articles that you're seeing about global government are positive. So separately, they're saying global government run by big mega banks is the best thing since sliced bread. But global government doesn't exist, and you're bad if you talk about it if you don't like it. And you need to be arrested. And, you know, they have Psychology Today a year ago write an article of how I'm insane and believe world government's being set up by mega banks. As mega banks at that time were in Newsweek, Financial Times of London, announcing world government and saying it'll fix all your problems and you'll pay carbon taxes to them. But I'm insane because I believe in it. But here's the paradox. With one hand, they're promoting it and saying it's good, and with the other, they're saying it doesn't exist. So it's just destroying their credibility. Now, going back more than a decade ago, I read DARPA documents that were public, MIT statements. You know, I read the technology publications, and I talked to, top people who were involved in it. They told me In-Q-Tel, CIA had founded Google. They told me that Google was basically DARPA run. Now that's all out in the news. The former head of DARPA is running Google and all this. It's all there. So people have got a big, big, big problem. And the system is in a crisis because this stuff is all admitted. Now, what we told people over a decade ago has come out. All the new appliances, the smartphones, everything, because they were setting this up then, have systems that you pay for when you buy it built into it. Trojan horse systems. Wow, look how pretty this creek is. Trojan horse systems built into them that can be accessed over data, over power lines. They got new light bulbs coming out that they can use through the power line to flicker them to access the new computers and control them. I'm not joking. It's Associated Press a couple of years ago. Look, I'm going to pull over here for a minute. It's kind of dangerous doing this before I continue on my way home. The point here is that all of this is real. All of this is out in the open. General Petraeus came out a week and a half ago and said, hey, we're watching everything you do in your home. Privacy isn't there anymore. We're just ignoring it. That was all over Wired Magazine, Washington Post. They're announcing giant NSA centers, tens of billions of dollars to track everything you're doing. It's just in your face. Thought I was the conspiracy theorist. But then it gets worse. I saw this Scientific American article put out by their editorial board, basically, endorsing global government as the only way to save human society today. Well, that's what it's always been with the Rockefeller Foundation for 80 years. That's always been the reason for global government, is a total technological control system to then cut off resources and force population reduction. But it's not even really about the environment. It's just about total control by these people. So this is their new religion. It's what the Club of Rome pushes. And here is that new Scientific American article endorsing global government as the only way to save society today. And when you drill down into the real documents, all they're talking about is forcibly reducing the population. And Bill Gates is saying, kill grandma, so that you can hire 10 teachers and the teachers all clap in the audience. This idea of kill somebody in a sum game system so you do better. This idea of get rid of win-win is just so nightmarish. And there it is, world government being announced as the answer to all our problems. And then, of course, a few weeks ago, I see that Paul Watson is sent an email by a listener pointing out that the big Journal of Bioethics, that's the system that controls all our hospitals now, is promoting not just not giving old people treatment, but killing healthy babies up to age 3. So first it's kill healthy babies up to birth. Now it's kill them up to age 3 and kill grandma. And when we first posted that article, people emailed us and thought it couldn't be real and didn't bother to click the link to the big bioethics group promoting it. And the fact that this is promoted across the board, they just said, you must be liars. Kind of like I was a liar about your appliances having systems where even the power lines have data control over them and are going in and tracking and listening to you. I mean, that's just all fact. Kind of like I was the kook, I was the bad man, I was the crazy guy for telling you they want to kill babies after birth and they want to euthanize old people. It's now out in the open. So it's time for all of you out there to make a decision. Are you going to be conned by all this? Are you going to just continue to buy whatever the system says? I mean, I'm still laughed at by some people for predicting all of this. Even after it comes true, they laugh at me and call me a kook because they're scared inside. You know, at first they deny this stuff's real, but as soon as it's admitted, they'll flip in mid-sentence and go, okay, well, I'm for it, because they feel like they're winners because they go along with the establishment. There is a stated program in thousands of documents that we've listed at Infowars.com, that I put in films like Endgame, it's free online, where the globalists admit they're establishing world government as a means to an end to kill you and to release controlled bioweapons, race-specific bioweapons. Dick Cheney wrote about it in the September 20th, 2000 PNAC document, Rebuilding America's Defenses. I mean, this is all on record. I just gave you where he says legitimize the use of race-specific bioweapons to kill certain races of people. You'd ignore this at your own peril. You know, they got movies like Prometheus coming out that, by the way, looks great. I'm a big fan of that director. Probably the best living director out there. I mean, if Kubrick was alive, I'd have trouble saying who was the best. Probably still Kubrick. But the point is that you look at something like Ridley Scott's Prometheus, and I happen to have actually seen a boiled-down script of it a while back because some of my connections, I'm going to be doing a report on it next week. It's all about aliens that genetically engineer and are going to overwrite humanity and how dangerous it is. Well, what about the globalists like madmen overwriting our society? I mean, this is the real issue that needs to be discussed and talked about. And I mean, I know these things sound science fiction. Your clock radio, your refrigerator spying on you. A decade ago, I told people that DVRs that were coming out were two-way tracking you, and that cable was doing it with the specs and the manuals that they have microphones built in listening to you, with AI computers doing a key log of all your words that's put into an algorithm. And then people didn't believe me, even when I had the documents. And then I showed you in the Chicago Tribune when Janet Jackson's breast popped out, and TiVo said, oh, we had 2.2 rewinds and replays within 5 minutes, a record. People said, how do you know that? See, it goes a lot deeper than I'm even telling you. The point is, we're in a lot of trouble. Psychopaths that literally funded Hitler and funded the communists as test in authoritarianism, and who want authoritarian systems, who brag they're setting the supper in control, and are wiring everything to be oppressive and to dumb down humanity instead of technology empowering humanity. So world government's being announced, the fact that you're being spied on is being announced, the fact that the UN commands our military has been announced, the fact that the president has all these martial law executive orders he's implementing. It's all real. It's all happening. And I'm begging you to do your own research, find out this is true, and then speak out against it. Don't just give in to all their mind control and all their entertainment that the Attorney General admits they're, quote, brainwashing us to be anti-gun. They think you're an animal. They're programming you. Stop acting like it. I'm Alex Jones signing off for Infowars.com. God bless you all. You have been warned.